Marketing in the age of AI, the show for leaders who want real results, not more noise. Join Emanuel Rose as he helps business builders turn AI from a confusing add-on into a practical advantage with clearer messaging, stronger trust, and smarter systems. If you felt the shift happening in real time, you're not imagining it. In the agentic pivot, Emanuel calls it the move from experimenting with AI to building with it, so it supports your team, your brand, and your growth. Let's get into it.
Two of the biggest AI companies are now paying startups to use tools, not discounts. Catastrophic $500,000 in credits on the table for a single with no equity attached. When someone hands you $500,000 in free anything, the first question is not, how do I spend it? The question is, what are they buying from me? Strategic e-marketing 17 years ago, if I would have got $500,000 in free tools, that really would have helped us get to market quicker but it would not have changed the fundamental. What are we going to do to help people with their marketing? Outcomes are they going to get? And that is always the question that I ask myself when deploying new tools. It's marketing. I'm Emanuel Rose, and thanks for some time with me this morning. This week we're talking about AI four-step version, the real one. Now, and the biggest AI companies moment got some threats, opportunities, and situations. And here's what get built. Hot take on why. Number two, my is actually free. And three, the companies and the ones that are exposed. Four, the money is actually going, and a playbook you can run this week. Let's get into it. And develop the story out. In May, Y Combinator Bank in the spring dollars and open it. Up to 500, no equity, no strings. Then OpenAI moved again, $500,000 with no strings, plus another 1 big deal. Think about war and the pride of you. Business stand up 4 Y Combinator batches a year, and these two companies could be handing out up to credits annually. Here's the operator text. Compute used to be the cost that killed young AI. Now, two of the biggest players are fighting to give it away. That's good for your runway. It also tells you something. When a supplier is that eager to get inside your product, the balance of power is not what it looks like on the surface. Second story, Y Combinator's own guidance this summer opens with one line. AI has stopped being a feature, and it started being the foundation. Think about that as a founder. If AI is the foundation for everyone, then saying we use AI is not positioning anymore. It is the price of admission. Their latest big batch was more than 180 companies, and about 2 out of 3 were business to business. So the differentiator is no longer the model, it's what you do with it. It's the specific pain you remove for a specific person. Think about that because it comes back 3 more times today. Third story, and this is the backdrop for all of it. Global venture funding hit a record $510 billion in the first half of this year, according to Crunchbase. That's more than all of last year combined. AI took roughly 80% of venture dollars in the first quarter. But here's the part that should stop you. Two companies, OpenAI and Anthropic, pulled in about $217 billion between them. That's 43% of all startup funding this half in two names. So when you read the headline about record funding, don't picture a rising tide for everybody. Picture a fire hose pointed at a handful of buckets. Those founders are standing next to the fire hose, not under it. That's not a reason to quit. It's a reason to build a company that doesn't need a mega round to survive. One more. Gartner says more than 40% of agentic AI projects will be canceled by the end of 2027. That's their words. Escalating costs, unclear value, weak controls. They even coined a term for the fakery, agent washing. That's rebranding an old chatbot as an agent. Gartner figures that only 130 of the 1,000 agent ventures out there are the real thing. Let's think about what that means. Thousands of companies are calling themselves agent companies. Gartner says maybe 130 of them actually are. The rest are wrappers with a new coat of paint. That's the noise your customer is standing in. Your job as a founder is to be one of the real ones and to make that obvious in the first 30 seconds. That's the news. Now, here's what I actually think, and here's my hot take. Free credits are not a gift. We know this as marketing people. They're a weapon, and it's pointed at you. Here's the thing. When a model company hands you $5 in credits, they're not being generous. They're buying your architecture, your switching costs, deeply embedded with you. You build your whole product. 6 months later, you're fluent in their tools. Your team is trained on their systems. They exist. Leaving. Probably can't, and that was the plan all along. The equity version is even sharper. $2 million in tokens for a piece of your company. That's not a coupon. That's a term sheet wearing a hoodie. Here's my honest advice, and I'd give it to my own kids if they were starting out, and I'll give it to my own team in our startup. Take the no equity credits. Anthropic's offer with no strings, take it. Free runway is free runway. But build model agnostic. Keep a layer between your product and whoever's model you're. So the day the terms change, and they will change. You swap the engine without rebuild. The founders who win this era won't be the ones who took the most free tokens. They'll be the ones who never let a single future. Here's some key companies to talk about who's actually playing and who's exposed. At the top, you've got the two giants, OpenAI and Anthropic. They own the models. Most startups you with those up to $100,000 in credit. That's right. Then there's Y Combinator, still the accelerator that sets the pace. They put $500 into every company they take, and when they publish what they want to build, thousands of founders point their energy there. Now the challengers, and this is where it gets interesting. Cursor, built by a company called AnySphere. It's an AI coding tool, and it became the fastest software product ever to reach $100 million in annual revs. They beat the old records by 6 to 8 months. We'll come back to how they did it. GenSpark, this one's a workspace that pulls together more than 70 different AI models to do your busy work and hands you a finished deliverable. And Avoca, AI agents for the trades, HVAC, plumbing, not glamorous, worth $1 billion. So who's winning? Look at the pattern. The specialists, the teams that picked one job and did it better than a coding tool, a trades phone line, a workspace for one. None of them tried to be every. Oh, like one company, which is that they wrap a model everybody else can also wrap. When Gartner says 40% of these projects die, those are the ones dying. If your product could be described as we put a chat box on top of somebody else's model, you're probably exposed. And a customer will figure that out faster than you think. The lessons for you, whether you're a founder or a marketer inside a bigger company, is the same. Own workflow. Don't rent a category. Let's follow the money because the dollars tell the real story. Start with that credit war again, but as a number. Up to $800 million a year from two companies, just two Combinator startups. That's the size of a real venture fund. Compute. Next, GenSpark. $100 to their Series B. That brought the round to $485 billion total. Business backers included Sozo Ventures and Korea Miri Asset. And here's the wild part. This company went from 0 to 2 years. Annual revenue. They raised more than $20 at early rounds and hit $1 billion. Fortune and Newswire both covered. Series B was led by Veritech and General Catalyst. Before that, Y Combinator led the seed. So notice the pattern. The huge money clusters at the very top with OpenAI, and then a second tier of focused verticals by rating like one specific map. Giants ground, a soft, crowded middle full of companies that will most. If you're building, you do not want to be in the middle of the 40%. Let me ask for developers broadly, they built one thing: a better place to write code. With AI sitting right in the workflow a developer already lives in every single day. One job done better than the incumbents. That's the whole story. Second, Avoca, a phone that rings at a plumbing office and nobody picks up, is a lost customer. That's the boring, painful problem they attacked. Their AI agents, the chat, the email, the voice call, and the text. The company says it's on track to book $1 billion in jobs for its customers this year. Their customer base includes names like 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Here's the lesson in both. Neither one tried to boil the ocean. They picked a person with a specific pain and they removed it. Cursor removed friction for a developer. Avoca removed a missed phone call for a plumber. Small, sharp, and measurable. That's the elixir this week. Narrow beats broad every time. And here's the practitioner playbook. Here's the one thing you can do this week, whether you're a founder or a marketer inside a company. Run the design partner play. This is the go-to-market that keeps showing up in the 2026 founder playbooks, and it works. Step 1, pick 5 to 15 design partners, real people with a real specific pain. Step 2, let them use what you're building for free or close to free in exchange for one thing: deep, honest feedback from the market. Step 3, track every single conversation in one place: who you talked to, what they objected to, what made them say yes. Step 4, set a weekly number: new conversations, new pilots. Treat it as a metric, not a feeling. Here's why this beats chasing startup. Here's why this beats chasing signups. 10 real design partners who use your thing every day will teach you more than 1,000 curious clicks. That record you build becomes your sales script, and it forces you to solve one workflow for one kind of person instead of AI for everyone, which is really AI for no one. Start a list today of 10 names right now before lunch. So here's what to carry out of here. The money and the models are pointing at founders like never before. That's the opening. But narrow beats broad, and no vendor should ever own your future. Pick one real pain for one real person and remove it. I think this really is the second renaissance we have the chance to build in. But renaissances get built by people who make things, not by people who collect free credits. If you're building AI into your product and you want to structure it instead of chaos, take a look at speckitty.ai. It's an open source spec-first tool for building with AI in a disciplined way. It's for technical founders and builders who are tired of their AI. You can find spec-kitty.ai. Some value today.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.